Welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer. Welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the studio with Paul Shearer, episode number 8. Today I'm joined by all-round top guy, Eddie Cook, who is an up-and-coming MMA fighter, a professional fighter, and I've wanted to get him in for a conversation today to learn what it's like at the early stages, to learn how much struggle and strife you have to go through to get your first amateur fight. What's the relationship like in the gym between your coaches? Is it motivational and inspirational, or is it hardcore? I don't really know about that, so I'm really curious to get to the bottom of that stuff. So thanks very much for coming in, mate. It's very good to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me over, man.
No bother at all, mate. No bother. So we'll just kick off. We'll kick off at the start, mate. How did you first get into martial arts? What was your first martial art, and how did you start that?
When I first started getting martial arts, I first started to join the gym when I was about 9.
9 years old, wow.
But I was always doing like kind of pads outside the back door of my uncle's and all that sort of stuff. So I was always kind of into, fighting with my brother, all that sort of stuff. But eventually went into my first gym, which was called YMCA, and that was in Paisley.
Right.
A guy, Norrie Sweeney, used to run that, and that's where I started off my boxing career.
Right.
I went in there I was being a wee dafty, essentially. just too much energy. Wouldn't know what to kind of release that.
Yeah.
So I put it in there, and then I was doing well. I'd take some kind of days off and that, and then when I'd go back, I'd get a wee doing for having my days off. So I started just going there consistently.
What you would notice you were struggling a bit because you weren't there as often.
Exactly.
Guys,
Kind of the coach said, he's got potential there. Keep him coming. Because I've always been a very competitive guy.
Right.
I don't like when I'm doing something. I don't like to be beat at.
Yeah, totally. Man.
So that definitely kind of helped me. So that's kind of where it all started. And I done boxing for, I went for about 14 years. Doing boxing again, just for that man, Norrie Sweeney, like a second father.
Yeah, alright.
He's
cool.
He's a great man. He'd come all the way from Saltcoats to Paisley, and he'd only charge people like £1 to come in at the gym for an adult £2. So it was non-profit. It was just all to get the kind of community together.
Man. Wow, that's really cool, mate. Really
and
cool.
The people were there like a family. It was a wee family of people, man. It was good.
Oh, that's
What a
awesome,
place.
mate. That's the kind of gym culture that I was curious about.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a wee bit of training myself, but at that age, so I remember that kind of thing as well, right? But
always daunting. Also, starting a new gym.
Yeah.
Kind of you're the fresh fish, kind of stepping into the pond.
Yeah.
So done that kind of long time. In fact, recently went to a boxing night there. Seen my friend Anthony. Anthony Ennis. He just had a fight there. Unfortunately, didn't get the decision he wanted, but he was some fight, good fight. But they've all started kind of run that gym again. All the kind of old people used to go to Sweeney's.
Yep.
Be kind of starting up their own gym
again. Right.
So I'm actually going to be going over kind of next week or two to go kind of see what it's about.
Brilliant, man.
Also I've not fought for about 3 years now. Just year, kind of doing my own stuff. I've not fought since, in fact, not COVID.
COVID, aye.
Because I was meant to have a fight just before COVID, and that kind of put a stop to
Put
that.
a stop to everybody's plans.
Aye,
that,
so it's
aye.
kind of flung a wrench in the works. So I'll be going back and for a boxing fight first.
Right.
Just kind of get my foot back in the door.
Yep.
And then once I've done that, I'll be going straight back to MMA.
Yep, cool.
And I'll be going. I don't know if I've told you this before, Tank, but I have been an independent fighter for MMA. All my fights have been independent.
Oh,
not
right,
for a gym.
Not
I've
for
always
a right,
trained
okay.
with some. There's a family called Clancy's. They're kind of big in MMA. They're doing
Right.
really well. There's Sean Clancy Jr. He's kind of shit hot. He's a double champion.
Where's he from?
He is from. I don't know if it's Barhead or Johnston. I want to say Barhead though.
Right.
Funny,
Funny, that's where my podcasting career started.
Is
in
it?
Barhead, aye.
Well,
we'll get to that later.
I don't know if you've heard it. It's a fight. It's a gym called Higher Level.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So he fights in there alongside people like Stevie V.
Yeah.
That. And Paul Beardrew, he's just joined that one as well.
Right.
So kind of big
Paul
names.
Craig,
Everyone in there.
He's just got a big fight as well. I noticed.
Aye, who Paul does.
Aye, I just seen it announced. The name's escaping me now, but I'll check it while we're talking. But aye.
So I'll be jumping back in there once I've actually got everything sorted. I've been wanting to go there for years, but my Achilles heel is the fact I still don't drive. I can drive, but I've not got my
your
license, so I'm doing that kind of every Friday and that.
Well, I'm the same, mate. I suffer for that same problem, man. And it's definitely a hindrance as you get older, innit, man?
Definitely. You notice it more and more. So got my CBT this month, so I'll be able to get
there on the bike. Cool.
Get back to fighting, so
that's great, mate. So just to bring that back, you're moving to higher level, and that's higher level is the gym where like the top Scottish fighters or some of the top Scottish fighters are training and we're talking about names like Paul Craig, the Beardrew, and Stevie Ray,
and then soon to be Sean Clancy. He's world champion amateur right now. I think he's on 8 or 9 fights. I think he's lost once, but he'd fought. That was his second fight that night,
right.
Like that. So he's going to be big. He's a tough boy, tough cookie.
Aye. So what age is he?
Let's see, he's 19, mate.
19. Wow, 19, man, that's crazy.
So he's young. He started young. I had my first MMA fight when I was 18, but he's been training in MMA since since he was a boy, actually.
let's take it back a wee second. We'll put a bit of chronology onto stuff here, mate, because it's an interesting story, right? So you started doing boxing, and you were doing boxing for about 14 years.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then, so how did you go from just training to doing fights? Did you do fights as a youngster, like actual fights? When you were...
I can't mind what age I was. My first fight, maybe 13, maybe. I was in there for a few years, but I was always quite gifted in boxing. I'd go in and I'd spar everyone my age, but I started to be get a bit better than kind of the boys in there. I ended up going with the adults who then pushed me at my paces, and that's how a lot of my fights ended up a lot easier.
Yeah, because you were training with adults.
I'm training with the juniors, but I'm also fighting with the adults and all, which just made it when I came to fighting somebody my age and my size, my weight.
This is all still strictly boxing.
Easy. That was just boxing, So once it came to fighting somebody like that, it was easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just snipe them.
Yeah. So you're if you're used to dealing with guys twice their size, then you're going into a fight with somebody. That's brilliant, mate. So then that's cool, right? So how did we transpire from training with the older guys? What age do you first do an amateur fight, or roughly how does that process start?
I mean, you can really start.
I've seen like a lot of folk. Sorry to cut you off there, mate. I've seen a lot of folk posting stuff, and it's youngsters in competitions and stuff now. So I'm just curious how that started for you.
I'd been there for a few years, and I think since first couple of months I was in there, I was always asking for a fight. In time, Edward, in time. And then eventually we'd had a few boys on it.
So it was like a few months from you starting?
No, a few years.
Right, that makes sense. So, and then you do an amateur fight, a kids amateur fight, as I'm assuming?
A kids amateur fight, yep. So head guard, again your short sleeve vest and all that.
Yeah.
And then just kind of step in, battle it. But
So then that's cool. You do how many amateur fights then before we
I had-
start talking about the next stage? And then what is the next stage?
So I had maybe 9 amateur fights. I had 7 wins. One of them should have been a win. I know I got absolutely robbed, but it's one of those things. If you don't batter someone at a home show,
Yep, they're going to go
they-
against you.
they're gonna go against you.
Yeah. You really got to make an example of somebody at a home show because the judges are going to side with them in some cases.
It's one of the rules. So sort of if you leave it to the hand of the judges, it's out of your hands now.
But we see it's like it's commonly spoken about in the like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and like another big name fights. It's still a huge problem in the professional game, isn't it? So.
Aye.
So that's interesting. So what do you say you do? How many amateurs before you do a professional? What is there a stage between?
No, actually, you can most go professional whenever you want.
Can you? I basically
yeah.
is that right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, for example, so I never had a pro fighting for boxing.
Right.
I've had one pro fight for MMA.
Yep.
Which wasn't even a choice to go pro. I'd actually 3 days before the fight, I was told it was a professional fight, and I was like, "What?"
Right. Okay. Right.
So basically, what happened is I got a phone call for a guy, one of my old coaches. They were putting a fight show together.
Yep.
So again, I'd been out with an injury. I hurt my shoulder. And I was recovering for that. He says, "Look, I've got a show coming up. Would you like to be on it?" I was like, "Aye, good." So basically, what he's told me is the guy who I'm fighting was out. I know he'd been out for 5 years.
Right.
Just hadn't thought he was getting back into it. And I was like, "Cool, so that's kind of fair for both of us, right? Sound, both just getting back into it." So, what's happened is I've obviously started training for the fight, and then 3 days before the fight, when we went and kind of done the weigh-ins and all that shit, found it was a professional fight. So he's been training for a professional rules fight, which if you don't know the difference, it's
Please let folk know.
you can do things like elbows to the head, knees to the head when you're on the ground. If you are grappling on the ground, there's still your elbows to the head. So he was just practicing in his training camp, posturing up, just going to land fucking elbows. You know what I mean? And I wasn't training to defend it and like that either.
Because that's not allowed in
the amateur game.
Okay, right. Wow.
You know what I mean? So, and after so I ended up fighting that guy. I did win. That was a hard fight. I lost the first 2 rounds just due to his control.
Yep.
He was a good wrestler. And I kind of lost the first 2 rounds. Had some good shit right enough. Broke his cheekbone in the second round.
Right.
A beautiful knee.
Excellent.
But in the 3rd round, I managed to finish him with a guillotine choke. But he was a tough guy. He didn't tap out. He just went to sleep.
Yep.
So
Aye,
it was a tough boy. But what I'd actually found out is that wasn't his first pro fight either. They'd lied to me. So this is something, because obviously I was an independent fighter.
Yep.
Don't give you much information. I've had this with pretty much all my fights, so you get lied to. When you're not in an official gym, they can fucking lie to you.
So how does that? That's
hide shit.
That's no nice to hear. It's kind of, I don't really understand how does that work then? How do you go about getting a fight if you're not got a gym kind of thing?
I used to have. So I still have a friend called Josh Crisp. He's the one who got me into MMA.
Yep.
So he used to get me my fights. For that fight though, for the pro one, that was just a phone call I got from an old guy who I knew.
Just was looking for, so he was still involved.
He's still involved. He was running a show, getting some kind of good names on it. Some boys from Conor McGregor's team were fighting on that show. They were in the main event. So what ended up happening is, obviously tell me about my opponent, but I found out from after fighting him, he was telling me that he was in the Foreign Legion in France.
Right.
So he was doing that for 5 years, wasn't he? No training, no that.
It was
Legion, which is like special forces in France.
Forces training.
And then he also had pro fights.
In that time?
And I had pro fights in France.
Right.
Which didn't count because it was apparently illegal there.
At that time, because
I
France,
don't know if it was
it's legal in France now, but that's a fairly recent change.
We'd had fights there, I don't know if I white collar it, but fucking I'd had pro rule fights there. So
and you choked them out. Basically, you were able to.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm a striker. Not I mean, I'm not bad on the ground, but I'm not an offensive fighter on the ground.
Yep.
I'm more kind of defensive. But I see most of my fights I've actually won with submission.
Yep.
I won with submission with that one again, but I was more kind of beating them into submission where I done a kind of beautiful kind of toss. Flung him there. It was Chris Bungard was one of the commentators.
Great,
he was
man.
like, Eddie Cook flung him a boot like an
Oh,
empty
did
tracksuit
they?
there.
Oh,
I was
brilliant.
howling when I heard the video, man. So I flung him, and I said I just got the air taken out of him. I was kind of putting his arm to kind of defend my punches.
Yep.
And when he had done that, he just kind of left his neck open, and I took it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. So people who don't know what chokes, it's called a blood choke.
Yep.
You're not trying to stop them breathing. You're cutting off the artery
Yep.
to the brain.
At the main vein in your neck, you're cutting the blood supply off, which makes somebody pass out really quick.
Fight was it? I think roughly about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You're out 30 seconds. So risking kind of brain dead, and then a minute you're probably dead.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to have a referee there and make sure
he knows what's happening for sure, mate.
Yep.
It's funny, the grappling side of the sport is something that we're not that familiar with in this country, and you know what I mean. It's
people kind of sleep in grappling that because it's boring to watch sometimes.
Aye.
People don't like to watch grappling a lot. I mean, grapplers might because they know what the hell's going on.
Aye.
But I've heard people when they speak about like Khabib, he's one of my favourite fighters. And when you speak about Khabib, it's he just hugs people. And I always say to them, like, I'd rather get punched in the face than what's happened to these guys.
Aye,
it feels, when you've got a strong guy on, especially when you're tired and all that, and they're just putting all your weight on, you feel like you're drowning.
Mm-hmm.
The steam coming off their chest, all that, you can barely breathe. It's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. You might not see a lot of fight going on, but there's constant minuscule battles going on all the time.
Yep.
And it's like chess as well. For example, if you're to fight a world champion woman, right, striking, a guy who knows how to fight can
like Amanda Nunes type.
You can usually kind of go toe to toe with them, right, and do okay with them, right. But if you go to the ground with some like for example Ronda Rousey, you won't stand a chance when it comes to jiu-jitsu because it's chess. It comes from striking where you've always got a puncher's chance, and then if you go down to the ground to jiu-jitsu, that's
you're not got a puncher's chance anymore.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're humped.
Totally.
And that's something that's one of the reasons I kind of transitioned as well, because I used to pride myself on being a fighter. I liked the fact I knew how to fight, give me confidence.
Yep.
And then we had an MMA gym join up with our gym. And
your boxing gym at the time.
Our boxing gym at the time, yep. And they used to come in, and I used to do a bit of sparring with them, get them kind of sharp. I used to smash them about the ring. And then they would take me into there, kind of get back at me, you know what I mean? And then again, I'd do good at striking, but then they'd take me down and then have their way with me, you know what I mean? You just don't, if you don't know what you're doing, you're a fish out of water.
Yeah,
it's different, it's a different land. So that's something everyone needs to learn. I've said that I think if I was to pick a martial art to grow up with, I recommend for them to start is wrestling.
That's what that seems to be the thing people say now, isn't it?
Well, it's your base.
If you want to get anywhere close to MMA anyway,
it's your base, it's your fundamentals.
It's also the most practical in a lot of ways as well, isn't it? I think 90% of fights that you see are not in a ring. They immediately end up on the ground rolling about straight away. Do you know what I mean?
If it goes, if a fight gets messy, it ends up you need to get in the clinch. You know what I mean? Get grappling. But for me, for example, if I'm a striker, so I want to stay on my feet, right?
Totally.
So if you want to stay on your feet, you need to make sure you stay on your feet, right? All the guys I've fought usually try to take me to the ground, so you need to learn to stay on your feet. Or if you're a jiu-jitsu guy, you're gonna have to learn to take someone on the ground. That's wrestling. Stay on your feet. Wrestling. To take people to the ground, it's wrestling. So you need to know
the takedowns is wrestling, and that's going to be the situation you're coming up against. Like that's either to defend against, or if you're going to engage in grappling, that's what you're going to need to do to get somebody
exactly,
down.
Mate, exactly.
I totally, man. No, it's interesting about like the Khabib situation, because I didn't watch MMA at all at first, right? I grew up boxing and kickboxing, so that was what I enjoyed to watch when I found the opportunity. Right. Do you know what I mean? And when I started seeing like the early grapplers in the UFC I was just like, I was kind of completely put off with it. But No, I can understand why. It's because you're like,
I start
you're
to
fucked. If you're in that situation and you're a
start
striker,
to appreciate it more.
yeah, mate.
And the fact
totally,
is,
man.
I would as much as people love knockouts, right? I'd rather get knocked out than be in a bad position with a jiu-jitsu guy, because if you get knocked out, you get knocked out, right? You might have a welt in your face,
Yeah,
but when it comes to like jiu-jitsu, it's snapping your arms, ripping your ligaments,
God.
all sorts of bad shit happens
Totally,
with
man.
jiu-jitsu. So
So
I
do
could
you-
do some bad things to you.
So no, 100%, mate. And it's like obviously the culmination of that fucking control that could be showed of the grappling world was in like the Conor fight, when the one of the best and most exciting strikers was just completely
Chewed up.
nullified in every way. Do you know what I mean?
And
Like,
Connor's Connor's got good wrestling, you know what I
mate,
mean?
he's the only person to take a round off Khabib, and I know it's only a round, but
Aye.
to even he never gets the credit for that side, and that's his own doing in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? But I certainly, mate, I think it's interesting to hear you say that, because that's
Conor can be a bit like John Jones sometimes, where it can be hard to be his fan.
yeah,
innit?
mate. Totally, mate.
You love him, but you're like, oh, you're not.
Mate, that's what that's where how I got into the sport, right?
Aye.
I was into like football and that growing up, and then I went away for all sports because I was just like, that fucking crowd drives me nuts. Like the whole like aggro football crowd, I'm just no into it at all. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But I always loved boxing and kickboxing, right? And then like Conor came onto the scene and was like beating wrestlers and that, and I was like, wow, no, this is like after I realised, I can't be into that sport because strikers are kind of nullified in it. You know? And then Conor comes onto the scene, this brazen Irishman who's knocking people out with his beautiful strikes, you know. And so I was like, wow, I got into the sport directly through Conor McGregor. You know, people don't like to say that or admit it nowadays, you know. Like,
but be true. You never watched it till
totally,
Conor
mate.
came in.
I didn't know that's it, mate. And I'd watched the odd fight. I'd seen GSP and I'd seen fucking the odd like some of the early fights, like
Conor made the
Boyce Gracie and that, you know what I mean? But Conor, he made it. He made it like
He
strikers.
made it a comedy show, or no? You know what I mean? He turned it a comedy
So
show.
he made it a bit pro wrestling, you know.
I've watched more of his like weigh-ins and shit talking going to have fights. You know what I mean?
Well, I suppose, mate, in a lot of ways, that's why he was able to do what he was able to do in the sport, because he was able to take the social media and make. See, for a half an hour fight, it was going to happen in 6 months.
Yeah.
There's thousands of hours of interviews, of content. And McGregor was one of the first to really capitalise on the content creation. You know what I mean?
Himself.
Totally, mate.
I said
totally.
you are you're your own promoter.
Yeah.
When it comes to fighting, you know what I mean? No one's going to promote you but you.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I suppose that's in real life and for every field. That's the way. That's the way we on it to look at it as well. You know what I mean?
Definitely know your worth and kinda.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, totally. Because if you don't, nobody else is going to fucking do it for you. It doesn't matter if you're a singer or a fighter or fucking whatever. You know what I mean?
You need to start in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, totally. So that would be like boxing fights. You would get a few amateur boxing fights, and then you started doing pro boxing fights, or you've not done any pro? Never done a pro.
What
boxing
actually
fight.
happened is reason I transitioned. I was I'd worked for 2 years, winning all the kind of fights I had to win to go on the tryouts for the Commonwealth.
Right.
And I'd won them all. You know, a lot of kind of hard work got put into that.
Yeah.
And what actually happened is Norrie Sweeney was no longer the owner of the gym. He retired. You know, he's an old boy. Certainly deserved his retirement. You know what I mean?
Totally, mate.
He used to obviously come
Sounds
to the
like
train
it, man.
station.
Yeah,
had to take a rest because of how old he was getting. You know what I mean? Halfway, and he would still power through it and come to the gym, but it got too much eventually.
Yeah, totally.
He'd done that for years.
Aye, that's crazy, man. That shows you a level of commitment, doesn't it?
Great guy, man. Beat cancer twice, I know. You know what I mean? Nothing was beating that guy.
Really?
Did.
Aye, mate. Wow, man. Like that's I can see why you hold him in high regard. You know, like,
amazing guy.
Turning up that distance to teach youngsters boxing and that as well is amazing. That was still in my mind when you were saying that. He would come all that way and charge you fucking nothing, basically, just for the love of getting people
just to make sure you're doing all right. You know, and he always checked in. You, it was great.
No, that's awesome, mate. That's awesome. So
one of the kind of fights I had to win. It was Tony Lindy, who'd taken over at this point. I was close to Tony for a long while, but it started to go downhill since then, right? And basically what's happened, he had a big heart, but one of the things he did, it was people who'd just been in so Tony had been through jail and that, right, which is fine. But he'd brought people who he knew from there to come and kind of run the gym, which is good, giving people second chances. All for that. Just some of the people what he brought in still were users. Right, and there's a thing. So everyone in boxing, you need a license to fight. And your club needs to be affiliated and all that as well. And one of the guys had left the affiliation papers on a bus for the gym. Well, it should be in a safe, you know what I mean? And that ruined my chances of getting in. I couldn't fight.
God, man, that's horrific, mate. Jesus, man.
So I fell out with him. I hadn't done it. I hadn't stopped for about 2 years in boxing. And at some point he'd asked me to come back. And I was like, fuck it, I'll come back. And I went back, and he wasn't even training. He wasn't even training them day at the gym. And I'm like, why he's pure asked me to come back, begged me to come back. I went back, and he wasn't even in the fucking gym. So I just kind of halfway through, I just went, fuck this, and left, halfway through. So what actually happened is my friend Josh Crisp, he used to be kind of my rock for training. I mean, he used to come get me in the morning, fucking take me to the gym. That time I wasn't working as well, so he would be doing his don't know who it worked for. I don't know if it was what's that package company? DPD, is it?
Aye, the white vans and that.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was that he was working for, but he was basically delivering parcels. So sometimes he would pay me just to come out and sit with him. You know what I mean? To give me a wee bit of money, keep him company, and I'd go and deliver the parcels and that.
That's good, man.
He was a great guy. So he's actually the person who got me into MMA. He used to go do the weights with me, take me into the cage, do a wee bit of rolling about with him and all that shit. And what actually happened was he had a fight down south. He had a fight lined up, and he needed a boxing coach. Right? So I was like, sound, I'll do that for you. And what happened is I went over to his house that night. Was sleeping.
Sorry, he did an MMA fight.
He did an MMA fight, down south in London.
Yep.
So I went to his house. I was staying at his because we were about to make a drive kind of early morning. And then what happened is we needed another fighter. Somebody had pulled it, and he was like, "Hey, did you want to fight?" I was like, "Fuck it, let's go." So 12 hours notice, I took my first one. I was like, "Hey, fuck it."
God,
and this is I think this was only a week into me being back into training after 2 years off.
Oh my
God. I really shouldn't have done it. That was a silly decision, but fucking I went for it. So went down south, got to his ma's house, and he's got another phone call. His fight cancelled. He wasn't fighting anymore, so we just went down south, and then boom, it was just me fighting. I'm like, fuck.
So you just took the fight on 12 hours notice. You were going down as a coach, and then it ended up the other fight was off.
Aye, fucking rules reversed, mate. Rules reversed. I'm like, right, okay, this is happening. Went down there and fucking the boy was John Chopper Reed, his name was. So I was 18 at the time, and that boy John, I think he was 30. He had his own gym. I know, he had his own gym and all that. So fucking went in there, and I don't know if you've watched it, but it's on YouTube. Of the fight, and the commentators are like, "Oh, Eddie Cook come down, 12 hours notice."
What did they even talk about it? Brilliant, man.
So it was a silly decision, but I did win that fight. I was puffing like fucking in the first round, but I managed to. I actually won that by submission, funnily enough. I know.
Submission again.
So I was boxing. He tried to stand with me all through the first round, and I just gave him a lesson. Just dancing with him. And in the second round, coach must have said, "What the fuck you doing? Take this guy to the ground, you silly bastard."
I forgot.
You're getting a lesson here. So that's what he went to do. So right at the start of the first round, he went to take us down, but I did catch my lovely left, and I sparkled him.
Right.
And he took me down. But as he's done that, he's given me his neck, and it was just open for a choke. So I just held, and I was just headlocking him at the time, right? Because I didn't know what I was doing down there at the time. So I was just headlocking him, man. And there's a boy, it's a gypsy boy called Charlie Boy Howard. He stepped in as one of my coaches with Josh. Right. Because he was just fighting there that night.
Yeah.
So Charlie, but I kind of looked over at my corners. I've got this guy in a headlock. And they're like, fucking crank it. I'm like, right? So I've locked my ankles together, and I was puffing my arse, man, so I had like no energy left in me. It was almost at that stage. If you've just in a hard gym session, man, your arms like I can't fucking lift the shit with shopping bags. You know what I mean?
Dead.
So I was just dead. I was just holding it for dear life, and I'm like, fucking crank. I was like, oh, fuck it. So I just went to fucking pull as hard as I could, man. The guy tapped. I'm like, thank fuck. Get me
Don't know
here.
how much longer I could have went there.
I think, and the only injury I actually got for that fight was I jumped up in the cage to fucking celebrate. I was like, yeah, right. And when I jumped off the cage, man, I fucking buckled my ankle.
Oh,
it was a bad start. I was like,
I always worry, like watching fighters jump back flipping off the cage, man. I'm always like, Jesus Christ.
Man.
And then I watched Johnny Walker like a year or two ago. He went and done like the worm.
I done the one,
and
popped his
popped
shoulder.
his elbow or his shoulder or something. I'm like, you're fucking head cases,
he
man.
doesn't do that one anymore,
Oh
man.
no, man.
Fuck,
No.
he popped his shoulder, man.
No, that's wild. I always worry about that, man. But I'm like, I can see why you're just so buzzing with the adrenaline. You're like, fuck it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
I'm
awesome.
always up in the cage trying to find my fans. Well, there's no fans to be found in fucking London, right enough. But I was just shouting.
Well, mate, that's just the thing about it. Like every show, every fight is a new crowd of fans to make.
Aye.
And if you can win them over, that's you got them for
Oh,
life. You know, it's like
you've met loads of people. I've actually went back and seen, people who I've met in these shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good. You meet some good characters.
so how many fights then have you had?
For MMA?
Aye, MMA
Just 4.
fights. Just 4 fights. And
Just
how
4
many of them
fights.
have ended in a submission?
2.
Just the 2 of them.
The
I
2
was
at once,
wondering
so
if that
I've
was
had
going to be a common
4
theme there.
4 fights and 3 wins I've had.
So is that 4 professional fights in MMA? No.
3 amateurs, 1 pro.
3 amateurs and 1 pro, right?
Yep,
So that's awesome, man. No, it's so crazy how they've came about. You would never think that would be the circumstance.
Well, that's what happens. That's why I made a promise to myself. I've been asked a few times to fight since.
Yep.
And I've wanted to. I've been tempted to, but I made a wee promise to myself, especially after that last fight, the shit show where there was. I didn't get fucking paid. I was meant to get. I think it was like 1,200 or something.
Right.
Can't remember exactly how much it was, but I'm still owed like 800 quid. The guy in the
Joking,
show,
man.
guy who I knew, didn't run away with the money. Fucking Conor McGregor's team still owed like another $5,000 for that fight. He fucking robbed everything.
Man.
I mean,
I didn't realise it was like the Wild West and like
no,
fight
but
promotion.
never usually, but when it comes to fucking Tony, man, it is. You're the only guy who robbed fucking the most dangerous people on the planet.
I
you know
know,
what I mean?
man, that's crazy. It's wild, you know what I
He
mean?
doesn't give a fuck. So fucking, was it? So I think what pissed me off the most is I don't know if you've ever seen a fight getting stopped with like somebody having like a bad cut, yeah.
Having a what? Sorry.
A bad cut.
Aye.
So I was losing the fight up to this point where I'd taught my guy, but I'd cut him bad, right, in his cheekbone. And I thought in the just after the second round they were going to stop it because of how bad the cut was.
Yep,
and I was like, fuck. Because nobody wants to win like that. Nobody wants to win like that.
You're not
And
really.
especially as because all you got to hear after is like, he would have won that. But
If it wasn't for the stoppage.
Exactly. So that's what I'm glad. So we had actually the UFC cut team on that show. And they went and they glued it up and all that during rounds.
Had
I
the
mean, so we done a
UFC cut
fucking
team on
cracking
it?
job.
Wow, man.
So we done a cracking job, man. They almost refused to wrap my hands because they found out they weren't getting paid. By the way.
Oh really?
Aye. So I was like, well, I need to fight. So
what is that about? But how can you get such high level pros and people are not getting paid, man?
Because people come expecting to get paid and then they start hearing rumours. It's Tony who's running the show and Tony's.
So is this guy notorious in this world? Obviously I don't really know.
He is, aye. But it's a guy I trusted as well. He's actually a guy I've known for years and years. You know what I mean? He talks highly of me all the time, so I didn't expect him to do it to me, but
he's still done it. Aye,
he's low life, man.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate, mate. That the game's still in its pure early embryonic stage in this country, you know. And
that's not what you need for.
That's not going to help matters. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely not, man.
So how does it work? Then can you give us a wee bit of an overview on like? Is there like lower level promotions in Glasgow and the kind of area, and is it all independent companies or is it bigger? Is it like the way UFC buys up all the smaller promotions?
You can have a big fish eat the little fish. That's a big part of it. But a lot of the shows.
So what is it like? Cage Warriors and stuff like that? Is there kind of bigger?
Cage Warriors a big one. I'd actually been in more English shows than Scottish because obviously my pal he was based down south.
Yeah.
So I was on BC MMA, and Warrior Fight series is the ones I was on. They've been on Rage in the Cage, which was Tony's one, so avoid that if you ever hear it. And I don't go to Rage in the Cage, man. And what was the other one I was on? Is it On Top? On Top? I can't mind it. It was my third fight, but so that one I lost. In fact, I think still to this day the fight that I lost was probably my favourite fight.
Right.
It was
Really?
fucking,
Aye, that's interesting.
yeah.
That's interesting.
See, I used
Tell
to
us
have
a bit
pure,
about that, mate.
so in boxing, I went in for a long time undefeated.
Yep.
I was terrified of losing my undefeated status.
Yeah,
right, so
yeah.
it used to make me more nervous after every fight, and then when I eventually got beat, I was fighting. You know what I mean?
The world
went
never
away.
collapsed.
Exactly, the world
cool,
didn't collapse. So when I went into MMA attitude, it's just like I want to win. Everyone wants to fucking win. But as long as I go in there and I fucking fight, and show people what I can do, I'll be okay. I'm fine with that.
You put on
Put
give a good showing of yourself, kind of thing.
That's the whole point.
Try as hard as you can and go for it. You know what I mean?
And whether you win or lose, like fucking somebody beats a world champion, the guy who loses, you still know what the fuck that guy either.
No,
you know what I mean?
Totally.
So I was fine with just going in, kind of showing what I can do. So with that fight, it was a boy called Thomas Hepburn. He's from Edinburgh. He's a cool boy. He's probably the only fighter I've fought. I mean, usually fought people with like big tattoos and all that shit, kind of scary looking guys. He's the only fighter I've fought who doesn't look like a fighter.
Aye.
He's a big skinny guy, dead nice guy. Wears Hello Kitty tops and all that. I think he wears Hello Kitty tops.
He'll lull you into a false sense of security.
I think he's inviting people to make fun of him.
Is he
so
a
that he wraps
grappler?
them up like a fucking tortilla.
Is he a grappler?
He's a very good grappler. He's a very high. It was James Doolan. He's the guy who runs higher level. He called him a very high blue belt, which means a lot coming from James. You know what I mean?
Right, cool.
And I was.
You say that a lot about jiu-jitsu guys, though, that they're like the most unassuming people you would never ever expect. If you go to a jiu-jitsu class, it looks like a science teacher, a guy for the shop.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody's like
pure jacked. Because I said, your max bench press doesn't mean shit in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
We'll become a scarf.
So
just wrap you up.
No, totally, man. Like, so see, like, as part of your training now, do you do a regular jiu-jitsu classes, like, or do you do? How does it work? Do you have to do like? Do you have
do
to
you mean
do,
recently?
Yeah, like
recently being a fat little loser.
Well, like, everybody coming out of the it's funny because like everybody I've had on the podcast is coming out of the pandemic, well, whatever it is, and everybody's like, I fucking not doing much in it, but it's like it's cause obviously now we're getting back to normal. Thankfully, we're looking at all that shit in the past in the rear view mirror.
Exactly.
For the most part.
So I've got organised as so you know Johnny. So I've been doing a bit of training at the gym. I'm always going, can I keep myself fit and all that, making sure I'm well chiseled. Right. So, but I'm going to be going back to that boxing gym, get my first boxing fight, but no first, but
another boxing fight.
Another boxing fight. And I'll be doing jiu-jitsu at the same time as that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going kind of 5 times a week probably.
Yeah.
Especially I've got more time. I know I've just kind of got a new kind of sales job. So I'm actually Monday to Thursday now.
What is it? What do you do in
I'm in Pursuit Marketing. It's
right.
called. So it's a good place to work, man. A lot of perks, good boys in there, and all.
Yeah, cool.
Guys.
A good 90. If you've got a nice 95, it's good in it. That's
exactly,
like a handy thing. You know,
and I get paid. You know, what I mean, the pay is pretty good there.
Yeah.
Bonus is very good. And it's only Monday to Thursday, so I've got 3 days off.
Yeah.
So it's almost what we just doing. We get 4 days off. 4
Yep.
days off. So I'm almost there. Just need an extra day somewhere.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. That's brilliant,
that's
man.
what you're wanting.
And
so
I'm
that's
sure
give me an extra day to train.
Yeah, that's class. No, that's class. So that's the plan. Get it back into the box.
Get back into that. Back into boxing. Get my jiu-jitsu up to scrap, and then up to scratch. And I'll be going to that higher level again because that's where I want to be. In fact, that's why I've not been in any gyms in Paisley. Cause I've been spitting the dummy. I keep focusing on the fact I can't get there because I don't drive and I don't have people who could take us.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of spat the dummy. It just decided not to do it for ages.
What's the kind of journey? What is? How far is it you need to go?
Bathgate from Paisley to Bathgate.
So what is that?
So
miles roughly?
It's good to earn 20 minutes.
I know, 20 minutes. It's one of these kind of things, isn't it? It's untenable usually to be able to get to.
Especially at the time I was with the workers, then I wasn't in the office. I mean, I was doing external wall insulation, which is just basically drilling like full hussies and extracting it all, which it's a very hands-on job. It's very tiring. So I wouldn't be fucked to make that sort of journey, to be fair. So I've got my CBT actually this month, so I'll be doing that, getting a bike,
and then you can do that.
I might not be able to go on the motorway with a bike, because it's your CBT.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But I've already planned a route for avoiding it. You know what I mean? So,
so you can get there through the back roads.
I've already got it printed on the PC.
Yeah, shows you, mate, and that's the level of commitment, and the level of preparation and that's needed to take anything to the top level, you know. And I think that just shows you that shows the kind of mindset that you're in, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's one of the things when you've like got this huge challenges, and coming back for the pandemic was a huge challenge for me as well. Do you know what I mean?
And it gets harder and harder as you get older as well. I mean, I was always, when my pal was always drinking, getting pissed and all that, fucking woman, I was just interested in fucking going and fighting in the gym, going back and playing my wee games. You know what I mean? That's all I was interested in. Going battling some faces and then fucking shooting some faces when I go home.
What do you play?
I was playing I'm acting. I was probably like Halo and all that shit.
What you play now?
Now?
Aye.
Now I'm playing stuff. I'm still with my Pokemon. Still my Pokemon.
Really? Quality, mate.
I do like No Man's Sky, Rocket League. Can I go a bit?
Really, mate? I absolutely love No Man's Sky, man.
That's what we getaway one.
Totally, mate.
What was it? A fucking universe that is bigger than our own universe, or as big?
Totally, mate. Like,
I mean, to play the full game, what your own son would have burnt out.
And the amount of time it would take to explore the worlds in this computer game, then because it's so incredibly vast, you know what I mean?
So I think one of my loves is like same for like Pokemon and No Man's Sky. I like going and seeing shit with like wee creatures that I've not seen before, which is just one of the things I like. So when you go to No Man's Sky, it always has procedurally generated animals and shit, so you get to see new stuff every time
that
you
nobody's
go
ever seen, mate. Totally, mate.
And Pokemon's kind of the same. You're like, oh, what's that?
Mate, it's so funny, mate.
What's
like, I had no idea that you were into No Man's Sky. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I need to learn to fight, because I should be bullied. You know what I mean? I should be severely bullied. You know what I mean?
Nah, mate, not at all, man. Like, I think that's part of. I think even like people who become fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're tuning into the same part of the psyche that people who can enjoy gaming and stuff like that are tuning into, because there's whatever you're into, if you want to be wicked at it, you have to get a childlike fascination with that field, right? So for me, it's imagination, computer games, and I have a big imagination, so computer games are fantastic for me for that, you know what I mean? But when it comes to any field, if anybody wants to really get into the minutiae of what it takes to be good or to be great, then you have to get that nerdy anorak style fascination.
If you want to get to top of it, I mean, see if you want to be kind of top kind of 1% and stuff, you know what I mean? You have to stop listening to the people around you, because the other people around you aren't that.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the one at the top, you need to stop listening to the cunts in the bottom.
Totally, mate. 100%.
I mean, take inspiration from people, take advice from people, but make your own mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah,
you'll be able to find it. You'll be like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee fucking, he done all sorts of martial arts and he made MMA.
Love Bruce Lee.
But what he did is he found all the shit that worked in different, martial arts.
Yep.
And then all the stuff within them same martial arts was a lot of bullshit.
Yep.
And he got that out.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. You add that to life. There's a lot of people things will tell you, which is a lot of bullshit, or just doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of find your own way to do that.
Yeah,
you know
mate. 100%. No, that's super important, mate. And I think like it's always something that I think we forget about all too often. You know that we've got that in us, you know what I mean? But that I think that's childlike kind of curiosity is what breeds your obsession. And then even somebody like, say, Conor McGregor, I remember always being like, when he would say, I'm obsessed with the fight game. And like, you're like, as you can say, people can say what they want about Conor McGregor, but his meteoric rise in the UFC showed that same level of obsession, mate. You know, so. And I think that's super necessary.
In fact, that's probably one of the reasons I've not had as many fights as I have. I've got pure ADHD, right? So I have a super focus on shit, right?
Yeah.
But I'll end up I'll have hundreds of stuff what I'm super focusing on, and
Yeah.
I'll not finish it.
So
like,
jump between
I'll
stuff,
have loads of games on my PC, and half of them I've not finished because I'm like, oh, this is really fun. But then I want a shot of that, I want to try that, I want to try that, I want to try that, and I leave one of the things unfinished. That's one of my issues with my fight game. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's one of the big issues. But I do love it, and see, cause I've done it since I've been a child. I've really liked the break that I had.
Mm-hmm. You
so
enjoyed that?
I really enjoyed like just chilling out. You know what I mean? Because especially like, there's a lot of pressure, especially for myself. When I was a boy, when I had a fight coming up, I couldn't relax ever. I'm like, oh, it's fucking next week. It's only going to be 5 weeks. And next
stress,
week, and there was a lot of stress. It felt like almost like you're coming up to the days where you're going to be executed. You know, where you're going to die. I mean.
But
that's like people say like on the night, like you're nervous before you go out, and I used to want to go into the toilet and like hide and hope they'd find me. You know what I mean? Before
it's really interesting to hear you say that, mate, and I really appreciate that because I think that's like that's getting a kind of insight into like some fighters recently have publicly come out and spoke about the mental health stresses that come with the fight game and the build up to a fight. You know, like
have you ever had a fight outside in the streets?
Yeah.
You ever got a bit kind of nervy before the fight happened? You know it's about to happen. You get a wee bit anxious. Well, that's like 10 times when it comes to an actual fight, because you're fighting a guy who's trained for months and runs every night to beat the shit out of you specifically.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And it's a guy can fight because he's a fighter.
To the normal human, mate, it's like, how the fuck can you deal with that stress?
It can be scary at times. I'm absolutely fine with it now that I'm older. It was a struggle when I was younger. I always got dead nervous. I think it was more of not scared of getting beat or anything like that. It was more just kind of letting my family down. Watch me. I don't like my family watching me when I fight, honestly, because I'm thinking about them instead of thinking about my fight.
Yeah, totally, mate. That's interesting. Yeah, I can see why that would add a stress to the situation that you could do without. You know, like.
But I definitely do better because when I'm fighting with anybody, when I'm not fighting with anybody, it's just me and the guy in front of me, and it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy.
That is interesting when folks say like it doesn't matter about all the theatrics, but when the cage door shuts behind you and that, it's just you and that other guy, you know, and that's
that's you. That's
in some ways, some ways that's going to be stressful, but I'm sure in some ways that's empowering as well. You know,
I think all your training just kind of kicks in. Then it's weird. It's a weird feeling because as I said just before I'm about to go on, I'm shouting myself. You know, do
you look at the guy across for you with like animosity?
No, a ton. I've got a switch. Like I said, like you've met before. I'm a dead nice guy. Yeah, SMD is obviously knows me. I'm a super nice guy. I always want to help people.
Super approachable and friendly and that.
Go out my way to help people. But when it comes to when it's fight time, I switch. It's like you'll ask Mace fighters.
So as soon as that bell goes,
it's a switch. I'm there now. If I can't have a chance to try kill this guy, I'll
you'll do it, and you'll let the referee stop.
You can't be
totally. That
you
makes
can't
sense,
have any. You can't. The bitch has to be away now. The bitch has to be tucked.
You can't be overly emotional about the guy because he's going to try and choke you out. He's coming at you. Now, you know,
in the MMA as well, like it is a dangerous sport. If you are in there and you don't know what you're doing, you can die easily.
Yeah.
There's a guy who died in a Paisley show. A few years ago. I think he died in the show 4 hours on.
Right.
Yeah. What was the name of that? I need to go on YouTube and find out what the name of it was. But I think he ended up dying in the hospital like ground and pound or something like that. But basically, in boxing, you need a license.
He got knocked out with ground and pound, and then
I think he must have brain swelling or something. I'm not sure that it's just semantics, but it was something like that. So boxing, you need a license. MMA, you don't. MMA, you just sign like a waiver saying like my family can't sue you if I die.
Yeah.
Basically, so you don't have to fight with a license.
In MMA,
no. You don't need a license.
Is that the same in America?
Don't know.
Because
I know you need a license if you have to fight in a big show. See, like Bellator, BC,
UFC,
UFC, you know that. You'll need a license.
Because they're fully regulated and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like now, anyway. You know,
when you're fighting, most of those shows, what you're going to be fighting on when you're not in those big shows or home shows, where it's like someday it's just you, for example, you could just go like, I want to rent out a place. And I'll just call some gyms, get some fighters together, and we'll put on the show.
Aye.
And that's it. The only way you cover your ass is the fact that you get us to sign the waivers.
Saying that you can't be sued basically for it.
Aye, exactly.
So it's as easy as that here. That's all you have to do if you want to put on a show.
Aye, easy. Aye.
That's in a way, like, I do like that, but because that's cool. It certainly must help more shows happen because it's so easy. Do you know what I mean?
I've been in shows where, if a fighter gets, I don't know if you've ever heard of like a kind of fight night championship thing where you have a fighter what fights multiple times a night.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times fighters get hurt in them shows and then can't, even though they've won, they can't fight the next fight for whatever reason, whether they've broke their hand or what have you. And we'll take somebody for the crowd. You know what I mean? Somebody who's maybe a fighter in the crowd and shit. They can jump in.
So I've heard about like Bellator doing like tournament style.
That's pretty much what I did. In fact, in my first fight, you know what I mean? 12 hours notice. That's pretty much what I did. You know what I mean? I went inside the waiver pump, right?
I know the way you worded that there though, like they pull somebody out the crowd. It's like,
yeah,
come on, let's go up. You go.
Meeny, miny, right, you in. No quite like that, but
no, totally, man. No, I think that's like that is in a way that's good as well because it means like you've got a chance and that's probably spurred you on to keep doing this and keep it in your mind as something that you're wanting.
That's like, what I was explaining there. As much as I enjoyed not fighting for a while because it was peaceful, after a while of the peace, I pure miss the manicness of it. I miss the chaos. I miss sitting, dancing with somebody every week. Fighting with different guys. Yeah. Absolutely missed that.
You missed not just the scrap, not just the actual fight. You're talking about like you were missing the sparring and stuff.
The sparring, the camaraderie, and all that.
Man, quality.
And that's one of the things that kind of got. I'm actually quite. I'm a dead kind of confident guy, but when I go into like a new group, I can be quite not quiet, but shy-ish. You know what I mean? I know it sounds weird. I know you don't really get
that certainly was my experience.
I know, but I can feel like that sometimes.
Totally, man. No, I get that as well, mate. I get that.
And it's hard for me to get into new sort of gyms. You know what I mean? Because of how easy it was for the last one. Everyone was like a family to me. I've known them for years, so it's kind of hard to go in there and try to get the same buzz from it.
Yeah, totally.
But you know what I mean? You usually go into a gym and fucking you're now the small fish in the big pond.
That's it. I just accept that you're building up now.
Exactly. That's you back. You just need to accept that you're back at square one.
So are you looking forward to that part of the process?
Aye. I'm looking forward to being past that part of the process. But you need, if you want to get to a certain point,
you need to go through that.
You have to start it. If you want to be good at it, you need to start it first. And then go progress.
Aye. Whatever you're thinking about doing, go.
If you want to be
get out running, go to the gym.
If you're on the bottom floor and you want to get to the roof, you need to climb the ladder first.
Start moving. 100%, mate. No, I think that's great, man. That's the thing. I think like I'm always thinking about how we can like try and fulfill our own potential, right, and like exist in a way that makes us all the most happiest, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people get stuck in a mindset where they're like,
overthink shit.
Yeah, I can't even see a way to be a singer. I couldn't even see a way to be a fighter or to be a football player or to be whatever it happens to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's about getting your foot in the door, but I know a lot of things. See, even like a lot of people kind of maybe want to start their own business and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
A lot of people, because information's so like easy to get nowadays, people overthink shit, over research shit. I actually read an article on not read an article, talking absolute shit. I watched a podcast. I can read, man. So it's basically about how people with a lesser IQ do better in business. And the guy was like, "What do you mean? Explain that." It's basically, he says, well, look at engineers, highly intelligent folks, and basically what their job is like they have to hyper-analyse things to make sure shit doesn't go wrong, because if anything goes wrong, a bridge collapses or what have you, know what I mean?
Yep.
People die. So they're kind of high, and when people like that go and try to start a business, you find enough things to go, nah, I'm just not going to do it. You'll end up convinced, you'll find a good idea.
You find enough obstacles to pull out.
Totally. When people with kind of less IQ just go in and do it, then just go kind of head first into it and take the obstacles as they come.
You
know what I mean? And that's apparently how you do better business. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, cool.
So
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think I've seen something before as well, where they're talking to people that don't overthink.
yeah,
Generally,
live in the
right?
moment, deal with your problems right now.
They're like measurably happier when it comes to like certain studies and that on that kind of
Yeah.
topic, because if you're not an overthinker, then you can just get on with stuff. Do you know what I mean? But an overthinker gets bogged down by so much stuff before getting anything done that it has a measurable impact on somebody's happiness. You know, so that absolutely makes sense, mate. So Hank, we're getting close to the end, mate. It's been fantastic talking to you. I've really enjoyed it. Know what I mean? It's been great. But I want to ask you, what would you say to the people that think, like, I can't start martial arts now, or I couldn't do, like, I can't change my life in the way that I want? What kind of message would you send to these type of people?
Well, if I said that specifically, I'd say bullshit to it, because anybody can start it, and at any age.
Right.
Right. I think the best thing is most people's reason for not starting is they either don't know MD who does it, or they don't know where to go, or they want. I've heard this so many times. Before going into a gym, I want to get fit first, and then go into the gym. I was like, no, you just go into the gym and you get fit.
It's just getting
You know what
yourself
I mean?
another.
You just getting yourself another obstacle, and then fucking.
Then you say, I'm not fit enough, now I can't go to the gym.
Exactly. Do you know what motivates me the most? Especially when I go back to the gym if I've not been training. A punch and a fucking fist, a punch, your fisted face, foot to the face. That motivates me. Like, oh shit!
Oh my god!
I don't want that next time. So you know what I mean. You'll get fitter as it comes. They train you. And you've now got comrades who help you through.
You're going to be way you through the journey.
Aye, they train you through it. It's the same like jobs and stuff. It's all about not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
So even try to find somebody who you might kind of briefly know who does a bit of kind of combat sports.
Yep.
And ask go along with them, ask get introduced to the gym, or just fucking phone the gym.
You
know what I mean?
It's always going to be it's always going to be an environment of welcoming people in, so people shouldn't be worried about that.
It's something you learn in the gym as well. You learn it quite fast. These guys are usually dead nice people. You know what I mean? There'll be animals who are dangerous people, but they're good people. We don't have to go out and do kind of like football hooligans. Yeah. Kid on the hard.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They are hard, so they can be nice to you.
Yeah.
You can wear Hello Kitty tops, because if you fuck with them, you're fucked.
They're going to choke you out.
They don't have to act hard. They are hard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I suppose that's a big factor in it as well. Isn't it? The people that act like that, it's always because they feel they need to, because they're not actually like that. You know,
they don't want people to fuck with, so you look like they're dead hard. When it's the opposite of me. I go on a night out. Like I try not to fight, but fucking someone fucks me, it's fighting for them. It's playtime for me.
Yeah, mate.
You know what I mean? It makes my night. He's like, don't ruin your night, Eddie. I was like, kid, no, this is made it. You know what I mean? So I definitely just get into it, man. Just get right into it.
Yeah, mate, totally.
I know it can be hard, but as I said, waiting in life, fucking take your first steps.
Aye, that's it.
You'll learn to run.
One foot in front of the other, mate. That's it, totally. Right, well, folks, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. This has been The Studio with Paul Shearer and Eddie Cook.
Welcome to The Studio with Paul Shearer. Welcome to The Studio with Paul Shearer.